Words of Sri Aurobindo from the book Letters on Yoga, Part 1, from the Collective Works of Sri Aurobindo, Volume 28, page 177. The main topic is the mind. Subtopic, the mind proper. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, above the physical mind and the vital mind is the mental intelligence, the mind proper. Beyond the ordinary thinking mind or intellect is the higher mind. Beyond the higher mind is the illumined mind, and beyond that is the intuitive mind. Above the intuitive mind are the intuition and the overmind. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the mind proper is divided into three parts: thinking mind, dynamic mind, externalizing mind. The former concerned with ideas and knowledge in their own right, the second with the putting out of mental forces for realization of the idea, the third with the expression of them in life, not only by speech but by any form it can give. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the word physical mind is rather ambiguous because it can mean this externalizing mind and the mind and the physical taken together. Vital mind proper is a sort of mediator between the vital emotion, desire, impulsion, etc. and the mental proper. It expresses the desires, feelings, emotions, passions, ambitions, possessive and active tendencies of the vital and throws them into mental forms, the pure imaginations or dreams of greatness, happiness, etc., in which men indulge are one peculiar form of the vital mind activity. There is a still lower stage of the mental in the vital which merely expresses the vital stuff without subjecting it to any play of intelligence. It is through this mental vital that the vital passions, impulses, desires rise up and get into the buddhi and either cloud or distorted. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, as the vital mind is limited by the vital view and feeling of things, while the dynamic intelligence is not, for it acts by the idea and reason. So, the mind and the physical or mental physical is limited by the physical view and experience of things. It mentalizes the experience brought by the contacts of outward life and things and does not go beyond that, though it can do that much very cleverly, unlike the externalizing mind, which deals with them more from the reason and its higher intelligence. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, but in practice, these two usually get mixed together. The mechanical mind is a much lower action of the mental physical, which, left to itself, would only repeat customary ideas and record the natural reflexes of the physical consciousness to the contacts of outward life and things. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the lower vital, as distinguished from the higher, is concerned only with the small greeds, small desires, small passions, etc., which make up the daily stuff of life for the ordinary sensational man, while the vital physical proper is the nervous being, giving vital reflexes to contacts of things with the physical consciousness. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says it is quite usual for the dynamic and formative part of the mind to be more quick to action than the reflective and discriminative part to control it. It is a question of getting a kind of balance and harmony between them. Next subtopic, the thinking mind and the vital mind. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the thinking mind does not lead men, does not influence them the most. It is the vital properties and the vital mind that predominates. The thinking mind with most men is, in matters of life, only an instrument of the vital. Vital thought expresses vital moments, the play of vital forces. It does not think freely and independently of them as the thinking mind can do. The true thinking mind can stand above the vital moments, watch and observe and judge them freely as it would observe and judge outside things. In most men, however, the thinking mind, that's the reason, is invaded by the vital mind and not free. Next subtopic, the thinking mind and the physical mind. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the true thinking mind does not belong to the physical. It is a separate power. The physical mind is that part of the mind which is concerned with the physical things only. It depends on the sense mind, sees only objects, external actions, draws its ideas from the data given by external things, infers from them only, and knows no other truth until it is enlightened from above. The physical mind can deal only with outward things. One has to think and decide in other things with the mind itself, buddhi, not with the physical part of it. Next subtopic, the vital mind. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says there is a part of the nature which I have called the vital mind. The function of this mind is not to think and reason, to perceive, consider and find out or value things, for that is the function of the thinking mind proper, buddhi, but to plan or dream or imagine what can be done. It makes formations for the future which the will can try to carry out if opportunity and circumstances become favorable, or even it can work to make them favorable. In men of action, this faculty is prominent and a leader of their nature. Great men of action always have it in a very high measure. But even if one is not a man of action or practical realization, or if circumstances are not favorable, or one can do only small and ordinary things, this vital mind is there. It acts in them on a small scale, or if needs some sense of largeness, what it does very often is to plan in the void, knowing that it cannot realize its plans, or else to imagine big things, stories, adventures, great doings, in which oneself is the hero or the creator. What you desire as happening in you is the rush of the vital mind or imagination making its formations. Its action is not peculiar to you, but works pretty much in the same way in the most people, but in each according to his turn of fantasy, interests, favorite ideas or desires. Sri Aurobindo says you have to become master of its action and not to allow it to seize your mind and carry it away when and where it wants. In sadhana, when the experience begins to come, it is exceedingly important not to allow this power to do what it likes with you. For it then creates false experiences according to its nature and persuades the sadhak that these experiences are true, or it builds unreal formations and persuades him that this is what he has to do. Some have been taken away by this misleading force used by the powers of falsehood, who persuaded them through it that they had a great spiritual, political, or social work to do in the world and led them away to disappointment and failure. It is rising in you in order that you may understand what it is and reject it. For there are several things you have had to get out of the vital plane before the deeper or greater spiritual experiences could safely begin or safely continue. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the descent of the peace is often one of the first major positive experiences of the sadhana. In this state of peace, the normal thought mind, buddhi, is apt to fall silent or abate most of its activity, and when it does, very often either this vital mind can rush in, if one is not on one's guard, or else a kind of mechanical, physical, or random subconscious mind can begin to come up and act. These are the chief disturbers of the silence. Or else the lower vital mind can try to disturb, that brings up the ego and passions and their play. All these are signs of elements that have to be got rid of, because if they remain and other of the higher powers begin to descend, power and force, knowledge, love or ananda, those lower things may come across, with the result that either the higher consciousness retires or its descent is covered up and the stimulation it gives is misused for the purposes of the lower nature. This is the reason, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo, this is the reason why many sadhaks, after having big experiences, fall into the clutch of a magnified ego, appeals, ambition, exaggerated sex, or other vital passions or distortions. It is always well, therefore, if a complete purification of the vital can either proceed or keep pace with the positive experience, at least in natures in which the vital is strongly active. These are the words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo.